Being a Mitch on your second stimulus check and second stimulus package, third stimulus check and third stimulus package, and first stimulus check and first stimulus package, and your Mitchball is watching me from behind. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe to this channel, but because tonight the Mitchball will drop. Chuck Schumer says that Mitch McConnell has been dropping the ball on your second stimulus check the entire year, but tonight the Mitchball drops. The Mitchball will drop at 12 midnight on the East Coast in D.C. as the Senate remains open, as Mitch is staring down Bernie Sanders like a plate of lobsters on New Year's Eve. I'm here, you're here, and so is someone. That someone is me. And the lobster ball is not able to host its favorite patron saint because he is locked in the Senate with, not in the building itself, but locked in session in the Senate with his most delicious friends, Chuck Schumer, who can't go see Broadway tonight, and Bernie Sanders, who can't go see, I don't know what does Bernie Sanders see, LL Bean, LL Bean catalog stuff. So I thank you for joining me. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. Also like this video. In this video, I'll be going over what's going on as we go into the evening on your second stimulus check. Moreover, I'll be going over UI, PUA, and FPUC because this is the video about PUA and UI and FPUC. I want you to get state stimulus, so please join me tonight on Purple Power Live. After this recording, I'll be coming back with you for evening check. I'll have the big update across the board on your check. And then 30 minutes after that, I'll be back live again on Purple Power Live. Evening check will be live tonight. Purple Power Live will be live again. And then at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, is the Lalate New Year's Eve celebration. Year's Eve, NY Late, Miami Late presents the Lalate New Year's Eve Bash, direct from the studio here. I couldn't book Jennifer Lopez. She was sort of busy for tonight. So I got the next best thing, the Mitch Ball. So the Mitch Ball will drop at the count of 12. I'll be here, you're here, you'll be here. And I appreciate if you join in and bring your favorite beverage of choice, whether it's the Michelini, whether it's the Michelini or the Schumer Schutz. Almost goes. The Schumer Scheltzer. So there you go. The breaking developments tonight, as we sit here tonight, is that Mitch McConnell is literally not in a happy place, and his lack of happy places comes from the moves by the Democrats. The Democrats are trying to keep the Senate in session and are so far working. The Democrats are keeping the Senate in session. Now, understand tonight's New Year's Eve. Tomorrow's New Year's Day. If you're already drunk, let me remind you what's going on. It's currently New Year's Eve, and the Senate is not usually in session on New Year's Eve, and it's not in session on New Year's Day, and it's not in session the day after New Year's Day either. But they will remain in session because the Democrats, Democrats don't really party. Democrats do pot bills. Republicans love lobster bashes, and so Mitch is very upset because he cannot go to his lobster bash. He has to sit and look at Bernie Sanders 24 hours a day, which, poor Mitch. And that is actually going to be really interesting because if you follow anything on Wall Street, you want to follow Northrop Grumman's stock in the next 24 hours and on any futures trading on the stock, because there's real concerns that the national defense of the United States may not get its funding tomorrow. The National Defense Act, the NDA, needs to get done by tomorrow, or there will be absolutely not a penny left or ready to go for the funding of the national defense. This is a shocking move by the Democrats to basically say, hey, we're blocking you unless you get the $2,000 stimulus check to a vote. The $2,000 stimulus check has a path to getting into a vote. It's a very obvious path to getting to a vote. And right now, I'm going to explain to you what that path is. The path is taking the Cash Act that landed in the House, and to the extent that the Republicans don't like any provision of it, because some don't, What I'm hearing about for their concerns are valid concerns. If they have a problem with it, amend those, deal with those accordingly. The Senate can amend a bill and pass it, get it done, or, propose a way to deal with the bill. Ultimately, if they do not, you could end up seeing no $2,000 stimulus check and no national defense, and the entire U.S. defense system shutting down, which is just not a normal situation. Not a normal situation. And so far, it is really too hard to predict where this is going to land. It's literally all over the place. You will likely see on New Year's Day dramatics like you have never seen before. Today was dramatic, a lot of name calling. Tomorrow is going to be insanely dramatic. And by Saturday or Sunday, it will be really crazy. Now, Mitch McConnell may actually be able to figure out a way to get the NDA to a vote tomorrow, which causes 30 hours of debate, which would carry into Sunday. But that might be too late. So very, very confusing. And I'm not going to put you to death to put you to sleep about it because I need you to stay up for New Year's Eve. So I'm not putting you to sleep about that. Will you get the $2,000 stimulus check? I believe you will. What's the biggest way to get to the $2,000 stimulus check? To get the president on board. He has gone warm and cold and warm and cold. And ultimately, for the Democrats to realize there's some strange language at issue in this $2,000 stimulus check. It concerns the larger households. Let me explain why. We all know that a stimulus check is $75,000 or 2019 earnings or less for one person. That's easy. We all know that. Been around since March. And we also know a married couple is double that amount. $150,000 married couple, 2019 earnings or less, stimulus check for the married couple. We know that. It's the larger families, the 4 people in the families. For some reason, a lot of Republicans are reading this Cash Act bill and saying, it looks like you could have $300,000 as the family of four's income to qualify for a stimulus check. And as that, it would mean that a married couple with 2 young infant babies could have $300,000 of 2019 earnings and get 4 stimulus checks at $2,000. Basically, a married couple with 2 kids, 8,000 would get $8,000 of stimulus checks. Not the intention of the Democrats, but the Republicans say if you read the language, it looks like that's the way the language reads. Now, there are a lot of ways to deal with language when it's not clear, like legislative intent and wording to say that's not what we mean, or guidance from Treasury or things like that. No one's trying to fix this issue, and it's not a particularly difficult thing to fix. It's pretty easy. So I really do see a way to get this done. And there is the latest twists and turns. Of course, the comments today were just some of the best one-liners I have heard. I mean, uh, you know, Chuck and Bernie were doing their best Nene and Sheree today. Now is this Chuck and is it no Chuck and Mitch were doing their best Nene and Sheree. I'm like, boys, I gotta take notes from these 2 people. So Chuck Schumer said to Mitch McConnell today, he said, yeah, there's the Mitchball. Chuck Schumer said to Mitch McConnell, just call a vote on the $2,000 bill, Mitch, and I'll let you call a vote on any of your right-wing crazy conspiracy theory bills. That was Mitch. So that was Chuck. That was Chuck to Mitch. So what did Mitch say in response? Mitch is just really good with his one-liners. Mitch said, I'm not calling your Cash Act for a vote. That's socialism for rich people. Every time I hear that, I just crack up. I mean, I made a memory right before I went on air of the cat and the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, where the cat's like eating the food, Drumlore or whatever his name is. I'm like, on the left, it would say, socialism for rich people. And on the right, it says, Mitch, just go eat some lobsters. Now, why is Mitch saying socialism for rich people on the Mitch ball? I mean, should we drop the Mitch ball for him saying the Mitch ball's actually right. The Mitch ball is actually right about the socialism for rich people. Is that this notion that a family of 4 may qualify for $8,000 of stimulus checks if they made $300,000, the married couple. Which, as Susan Collins says, that's rich where I am. It's not like Susan; it's sort of rich where everyone is. A married couple that made $300,000, married couple 300,000 among the two of them. That's sort of a good year for two people. So Susan Collins, yeah, that's sort of. Thank you for the obvious comment, Captain Obvious Collins. Is just thank you. So Mitchball, drop him or kick him or punt him. I mean, Chuck Schumer has a lot of things up to speed for the Mitchball tomorrow. Chuck Schumer will not be in Times Square, of course, not because he's not invited, not because he didn't do a Broadway bill. By the way, he did get under the second stimulus. You've not heard me talk about it on this channel because, there's no one in Broadway on this channel except me. I'm just kidding. Chuck Schumer actually got venues money under the second stimulus package. How they get the money, I haven't done it in this channel. If people own venues and own nightclubs and want me to do venue coverage on this channel, I will be happy to do it. But Chuck will be seeing Mitch McConnell tomorrow on the Senate floor. Chuck will not be in Times Square doing Broadway. There you go. So, oh my goodness, we're at 1,300 people already. So there you are. At the 15-minute mark, I have an update as well. I want to cut now to unemployment. As let me block Mitchball for a little bit. Let me move over here. Make sure you get the whole New Year's ditch the Mitchball. The PUA FPUC UI importance is really going to start kicking in the next few days. And I want to go over everything about PUA UI FPUC. This is FPUC 2.0. This is the $300 FPUC. I don't have a particular way to delineate each of the FPUCs. It's going to be confusing. I'm going to be referring to the FPUC from March to July as FPUC 1.0. I'm going to be referring to the FPUC from now forward, the $300 a week, as FPUC 2.0. And then when we get FPUC under Biden, I'm going to refer to that as 3.0. Because there's going to be too many FPUCs at this point, and it's too confusing because they do different things. So the FPUC from March to July, you can still get those weeks if you are still waiting for your claim to be processed. Yes, they're still paying $600 from March to July. So that's the important thing. That was the first period of time. The FPUC 2.0 starting now going forward. Do you do anything to get it? No. So FPUC is automatic so long as you are paid for UI or PUA in that respective week. The important thing is to certify for benefits. And that then kicks into the issue of, okay, what's going to happen with your account? This is talking to people who are already on UI or PUA. I'm presuming you are already on UI or PUA or were on it and ran out of weeks. I'm presuming you're not people waiting to apply. If you have not applied for PUA or UI before and you're wanting to get on unemployment because something just happened, which is a very rare circumstance. Most people would have already been unemployed by this point sometime during this pandemic. Then certainly watch the overnight LA show on unemployment assistance. It covers how to apply, but it also covers how to get paid for each week, which is subject of this video as well. So what I need you to understand is that there's two types of people that are watching this video now for unemployment. People who are inactive, their account shows inactive, and some people that their account shows active. The people who are active are generally in states in which the states have done something called EB, extended benefits, or extra weeks of benefits. They never pushed you to inactive. They said, we're going to take care of you. We're going to give you extra weeks. You are in the best circumstance you could be because your weeks are going to continue to run. You're not going to have late payments. Everything is going to run smoothly. So you have almost nothing to worry about. Your FPUC will start to appear on top of your benefits every week. You don't have to do anything for it, provided you certify for benefits. The big issue, though, is for people whose weeks are in states where they do not do extended weeks of benefits and have, because of that, they ran out of weeks. They ran out of weeks of either UI or PUA. UI is unemployment, like a W-2, like a Macy's employee. And PUA is an independent contractor, like Grubhub, Airbnb, Uber, or Lyft. So if you ran out of weeks, your account probably shows inactive or some word like the word inactive. So how do you go from inactive to active? That's going to happen with your state over the next few days. How they do it is going to be really quite different where state you are. I can't tell you, thank you for the super chat. I can't tell you how you particularly will have to do in your state. Every state is sort of different. So you need to go to your state's unemployment website nearly on a daily basis and just look. They may do it automatically, they may not do it. What I want you to know is that when they do the weeks of unemployment benefits, hold on a second. When they switch your benefits from active, sorry, Mitch. When they switch your benefits from someone said the Michelle ball. It's the Mitch ball, not the Michelle ball. The Michelle ball. It's the Mitch ball. There it is. The important thing is that once they switch your benefits from inactive to active, then at that point you need to be ready to certify for benefits right away. And I mean just down to that day. So if they switch you from active to inactive to active, bam, be ready to certify for benefits and get going and ready to go. When you certify for benefits for each week, then that week is done. Then they'll be processing, and then your FPUC will come on top of it. FPUC is just like UI and PUA. So FPUC is taxable. It goes on top of your UI and PUA. The volunteers website is news.llate.com/community. It's also in the pinned comments of this video. And so I want you to make sure you certify for benefits right away. Now, once you certify for benefits, they will bring you up to date. So let's say you're at the second week of January when we're dealing with this issue. You will have certified for all the weeks you have certified for. You will be good. But here is the big rub. Your weeks may be delayed. Your payment of your weeks may be delayed, and that's a big issue. And I'm going to go over that next, now that we're at the 15-minute mark. I'm a little bit late, so let me give you the big update across the board. Good afternoon, and live from Los Angeles, this is Afternoons LA, and what a day it is, as the battle for your $2,000 stimulus check on the Senate floor continued today, and will continue tomorrow. The bill is not dead, it is not alive, it is not swimming with the lobsters, but what's going on is it would likely come for a vote either Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or even Monday. The Senate votes at issue stem upon a defense bill which is about to lapse, and that vote is being blocked and held up by the Democrats. The Democrats are keeping the Senate in session on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and thereafter until they get their way. So far, that aspect is working. The big issue is, why is this not getting done? The issue about not getting it done is actually relatively easy, because everyone supports the $2,000 stimulus check. They don't support the provisions. The provisions at issue involve the adult dependents and also involves the eligibility. I'm going to presume, but I don't know if I'm right, that no one in the Republican has said anything about adult dependents. You have not heard the President, McConnell, anyone else saying, I just don't want to pay adult dependents. In fact, they don't even mention it. So I'm hoping that's not the real deal breaker. The real deal breaker is the eligibility, the threshold. We all know that a single stimulus check is paid for individuals who made $75,000 or less, or married couples who made $150,000 or less. But Republicans claim that this Cash Act, the bill to get you a $2,000 stimulus check, looks as written that if you're a married couple with 2 kids, you could get a stimulus check if the married couple made $300,000 last year. Basically, that's adding the kids as a way to get the threshold even higher. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I think it still can get done, but here we go. That's the Mitchball behind you. If you're wondering why, what is behind him? That's the Mitchball. He will be dropping on New Year's Eve, which is a special broadcast tonight at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 11 o'clock on the East Coast. This channel will host a live telecast tonight for New Year's Eve to count it down. And Chuck Schumer says over the last few months, Mitch McConnell has dropped the ball on your stimulus check. So I will be dropping the Mitch ball. There you go. So please subscribe. Tell your friends to join me. It'll be simulcast on Instagram. And if you live in New York or Miami, Please also give me a shout out on Instagram. I'll need your help as we count it down. As the wind is really picking up, my goodness. The Mitch balls sort of floated in the air. So there we go. What a night it is. And so let me cut back to your unemployment. This is your unemployment video to really get you up to date. Um, so your FPUC and UI and your PUA for this week, first week of January, the second week of January will get delayed. And I don't want you to be surprised if they're delayed. In fact, the delay, how much they could be delayed, how long they could be delayed, is very confusing. Someone said, "Why is there no Nancy ball?" Because there's only one ball on New Year's Eve. Her hairstyle wouldn't fit on the ball. So would go way above the ball. Hello from Monterrey, Mexico. ¿Cómo estás, Carlos Garcia? And if you're international, please join me for the Mitch ball drop tonight. I'd love to have all my international viewers tuning around the world. Again, this will be on East Coast Standard Time. We're counting it down for midnight. And so I don't want you to be surprised if your UI PUA are delayed. With that, let me answer some of your questions you may have about unemployment or stimulus check. I did not answer as many as I would have liked earlier today. So if you have any questions about unemployment, certainly drop it now. I'm in Miami too. Oh, wonderful. You could put Nancy's face on the back of the ball. Oh, that's a good idea. Crush the Mitch ball. What time is the party? 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's a 1 hour telecast, a 1 hour live show. If the Senate amends, will it go back to Pelosi? I really don't know. I really don't know. Maybe, but the House is no longer in session, and so that's not a good idea. They canceled my unemployment on the 12th, which is going to come back. Yeah, so if you went inactive on December 12th, you will come back active. You should put Mitch on a pinata. Yeah, crush the pinata, crush the Mitch ball. No, that should be Nancy on a pinata. Crush the pinata. There you go. How you doing, Mitchball? You doing good? There you go. There you go. I didn't have time to put him on the color printer. I could have done the color printer, but the black and white is a little bit better. It's just sort of dark and loomy, sort of like the Mitchball. It's the Mitchball. Someone had a question. Para unemployment. He keeps looking away. He is looking away. Mitch is always dropping the ball. New York mentioned we need to provide additional information and documents. What do you think that is? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what that is. I know that a lot of states, when you first go on the claim, when you first get your claim certified, you have to have additional documents. But I don't know what the additional documents would be now to go from inactive to active. You may just have to answer some questions. So this is what's going. Where did I get that picture of him? I mean, that's how Mitch looks. I did not distort that picture a bit. That's just sort of how Mitch always looks. There he is. Mitch. Hello from New York. We're blaming Mitch for our frog. Or fog. Yes, I've been on unemployment since March. I just saw the Mitch ball. You just saw the Mitch ball? Yeah, my Instagram room. You're in a bad position, so let me move you over there so you can see the Mitch ball there. Mitch cringe. I'm taking a picture of the Mitch ball, said someone. Don't do anything to talk about Maggie. Who's Maggie? What about state grants? Yes. State grants, which is state stimulus. I'll be coming back on that for Purple Power Live tonight at 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. But state grants are getting funded additionally from second stimulus. That was a great question there. If your UI benefits are still intact, when can the extra benefits be applied? Well, that's a great question, Deidre. So they are being applied now. The question is, when are you going to get paid? They're being applied now. So that's a great question. They're being applied now, but the payment is a different issue. Someone is here pretending to be Mitch McConnell. Weird. I know that person was there here earlier today. The Mitch ball should be a pinata. I know it should be a pinata. The whole country doesn't like Mitch. Do you think, there was a great question there. Do you think that Mitch will win re-election in 2 years? Oh, I think he'll probably, is it 2 years? I think it's 6 years. I don't know. I don't know if, I don't think he's going to run again. I think this is the last time. Um, I had money left on my PUA and says expired as of December 26th. Should I still certify the Sunday? Yes, certify for every week you can certify for. If you are unemployed, do not stop certifying. That's a great question. For any week you are unemployed, please continue to certify. That is the most important way to make sure you get your benefits on time or as close to not being delayed. Certify as quickly as possible. Georgia DOL says that PUA FPUC can start next week. That's Scott. That's a great point. So it will start next week. The question is when you're going to get paid. When it starts is the second stimulus package. That's when FPUC applies to your account. When is FPUC active? That's the second stimulus package. That's federal law. That's not the question here. The question is when you're going to get the payment. When are you actually going to get paid? It may start next week, but are you going to get paid on time or is it going to be delayed? My wife tried to certify and it did not allow her. So Francisco, what state was that? So that's a great question. Are we dropping the Mitch ball? We are dropping the Mitch ball. I don't know how logistically we'll drop the Mitch ball, but we are dropping the Mitch ball. Happy New Year's Eve, everyone. Uh, Maine is only seeing a 1 to 3 day delay on the new benefits. How do we know that, Joshua? They said that, or how do we know that? Lalate, have you heard anything about the CARES Act money? Yeah, I mean the CARES Act money is still available at your states, and that is purple. That's purple every night here on the channel taped, and then Purple Power Live later this evening. FPUC is on top of PUA. Please explain. Yes, it is on top of PUA. FPUC is on top of PUA, and FPUC is on top of UI. So if you get 167 a week for PUA, the $300 will go on top of it. You'll get 467. Will Nancy Pelosi go for re-election or will she retire next year? Apparently she's going to retire next year is the rumor. We don't know. Are we retroactive? We are not retroactive on FPUC 2.0. FPUC 3.0, which is Biden FPUC in January, would be retroactive. EDD is doing ID verification now. Why? Probably because a lot of fraud concerns. So is the Cash Act still alive? It is still alive. We have about, I think, another half a week. I think it's about the 5th or 6th of January. If I used half of my FPUC before the 27th, well, I still get FPUC until March 14th. Yes, so that's a great question, Nat. So Nat did not have his benefits run out. He just used some of the benefits. So his question, Will, is whether he will still get FPEUC until March 14th. Yes, in fact, everyone gets FPUC to March 14th. FPUC cannot go past March 14th for anyone and cannot end earlier than March 14th. Everyone gets March FPUC to March 14th. Everyone gets FPUC to March 14th, and everyone gets PUA to March 14th. The only thing that can go later is state unemployment benefits because that's a state thing. Remember, the federal instruments, the federal items are in the stimulus package because it's a federal law. The federal government can do things with their federal instruments. The states can do nothing with their federal instruments. And there you are. Why are we pending in UI? Great question. Because it's going to take a little while for them to switch you from inactive to active. FPUC starts. Yes, FPUC is going to start. How will Congress do the certification? Oh, do you think that Mitch and Bernie? That was a good question. Do you think Mitch and Bernie will throw down tomorrow? Yes. Friday is going to be dramatics like you never saw. My UI doesn't say inactive, Miss Ashley. So that's good. You're probably in a state that has extended benefits. So you remain active. That's a good thing. In Pennsylvania, my pet PUA already went to active. Wow, congratulations. So one viewer said in Pennsylvania his PUA already is active. Are you able to certify yet for the week? So that's a wonderful good news. So that was a very fast state. Now that doesn't mean it's going to come on time, but at least they got the computers working on time. So that's a good thing. Well, I moved the camera so you could see the Mitchball Instagram room. Yeah, I moved the camera so you could see the Mitchball because people could see the Mitchball. So I could put it back on me. You know, I'm the host, not Mitch. You know. There you go. Why are you not saying anything about California? Uh, uh, I don't know anything about California. I'm not tracking this, as I said on this channel, I'm not tracking states one by one as to how and when they're putting you from inactive to active, how they're asking you to certify for benefits, because it's too much to report. It's too confusing. Any update on the $22,000 stimulus check? Yes, we're at the 30-minute mark. Thank you for reminding me. Now that we're at the 30-minute mark, it's time for an update on the $2,000 stimulus check. The $2,000 stimulus check will go to a big battle tomorrow on the Senate floor, as a series of 3 or 4 different things are at issue. The biggest one is that the Federal Defense Act that needs to the NDA that needs to be done by the end of Friday has to be formulated to a vote. And what the Democrats and the independents are betting upon is blocking that vote until there's a vote called on the second stimulus check. How important is that NDA to pass? It's very important. It's been passed every year for 60 years consecutively. Without that money, certain agencies will have no money funding for them. So will Mitch McConnell consider that deadline a really big threat, or sort of not worry about an agency losing no money? If Mitch McConnell understands the severity of it, he will confront the problem. The Cash Act, ironically, is the only way to get the $2,000 stimulus check, because the House of Representatives is no longer in session. And that by the time they come back in session, everything will have expired. So they need to work off the Cash Act. And ultimately, if you look at the language, and there's confusion about the language, they could address the confusion by understanding the language was not intended to mean this. The confusion stems from Democrats and Republicans disputing what does the language mean in the case of a family of 4. There's Republicans who believe that the language suggests in a family of 4 that if the family of married couple, a husband and wife with 2 kids, had $300,000 of income, they'll get an $8,000 stimulus check. As Mitch McConnell calls that, socialism for rich people. He's actually right, because the language apparently is due to poor drafting choices of words. But the Democrats did not intend to give an $8,000 stimulus check to a married couple who made $300,000. They intended to be a married couple of $150,000. So here's where the battleground will be. Will people understand that the language was not intended to mean that way and get it to a vote? I think they will. We're very, very close, but one of the big pushes could come for the president, who is back in town from Mar-a-Lago because he's unhappy with the color of the marble in a room at Mar-a-Lago. I'm not kidding. So he's back in town because the marble just doesn't look nice where he was. And so with that, we could see a vote on your $2,000 stimulus check sometime either Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday. The Senate is still in session because of the acts of Bernie Sanders and the Democrats. As always, thank you for joining me. Make sure you subscribe. Join me next on Evenings Lalate, and then, which I'll be live, and then on Purple Power Live, and then join me on a live 1-hour telecast of New Year's as we deal with the Mitchball. The Mitchball is about to drop. I'll be counting down the end of 2020 with you live on this channel. 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and save LA for more.